It's not a requirement.
I guess not, because it's the same platform, right?
Yeah,
mean,
and I
it's
know
just
they
mirroring it.
upgraded the production. But shouldn't really affect anything.
Because
Yeah,
I
it's
ran
very
it
fun.
after.
Yeah.
Checked after.
All right, I'll try it again, see what happens.
I put a case in too.
Okay, perfect.
What are you talking about? I just tried to log in and I can't access.
Yeah, push that button to work for you. Well, and we spoke about that, right, there. So. Yeah, and I think it's the same thing that we had that conversation. Well, and I think it's very that. Brian.
All right, you should, you gotta get something, you gotta click to sign in. You should get something that says to click.
Lisa, Steve, hello again.
Wow. Oh, I just want to remind everyone that with Zoom, it starts recording right away. So we're actually recording now.
Okay.
That's a heads up.
I figured I would join you all.
You didn't take my advice of going to take a walk.
No, I didn't. I sent you an email
Yeah, I saw that.
instead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, for doing that chart for me.
Oh, no problem.
Is that what you want at least?
Full disclosure, I didn't open it up yet,
Okay, that's fine.
but I knew he sent it to me, and knowing Andrew, it's exactly what I want.
Perfect.
Hope so.
Well, we do have a quorum, so why don't we get started?
You want to give Michael Baby another minute or two? It takes a little bit to
Yeah, sure.
into Zoom.
I miss my double screen, my triple screens.
Okay, why don't we get started? Good morning, everyone. It's, excuse me, Friday, January 17th, 2025. This is a meeting of the Weston Board of Education's Financial Facilities and Operations Committee meeting. we have a quorum. And so why don't we move to the first item, which is an update on facilities and ground maintenance. Mike?
Okay, basically, around campus, everything's going pretty well. Finally got some cold temperatures, so a little bit of issues here and there with heating, but in general, everything's going very well. Biggest update we have to discuss with this this meeting, the intermediate school generator had a catastrophic failure. Our vendor had come out and he did his assessment to it. The electrical generation portion of the generator had catastrophically failed. Given its age, 2006, and the amount of uses that it's had, we went at it a couple different ways with the vendor. It was a top end replacement, which would have been the electrical component of it, and or a replacement of the entire generator. Because of the unknowns with the engine at this point, the assessment was for a complete replacement as opposed to just a generation replacement due to the amount of material cost and the amount of the man labor hours included to do the repair, and then the unknowns of the engine after the top end had been replaced to replace the entire unit. We're still waiting for a cost. Should have it any day now for a replacement, like for like. And as well as the replacement of the generator, we're also going to look into how we can increase the size of the generation portion to the building, because at this point it's not the generator that has the minimal coverage, it's the actual switchgear room inside the building. So it's a two-piece, but yeah, this is unfortunate. It probably failed about 5 years, sooner than they need to be replaced, but this is where we are.
And what do we utilize it for?
It's emergency, it's all life safety, and kitchen use. So you have life safety to get out of the building. So you have some lighting. There's no HVAC on the generator at this point, which we would like to add to it. You have the kitchen, coolers, freezers, limited items for the kitchen, and that's really all that it has at this point. Years ago, we had, I believe it was the snowstorm that we had that postponed Halloween, and then we had a number of school days. So we tried to keep the kids in school even with the power out, and we had a lot of issues. There was no generation in the bathrooms. There was no generation in classroom other than a handful of fixtures. So we're looking to upgrade what we have for total coverage. And if anything was to happen in the time being with the generator down, we have space in the other buildings for the cafeteria, kitchen, prep, all the food product.
And then how was it discovered that it was that there was a total breakdown?
Just routine maintenance. It wouldn't start, wouldn't run, and the noise it was making. So it was just it was out of running that we determined that we had an issue. Vendor came in and found what we had going on.
Yep. Okay.
And we piggybacked off of the town with the changing our vendor. So we're in a good place. But yeah, this is something that we're talking about moving on relatively quickly.
And is there a guesstimate of what it takes to replace it?
Cost wise?
Yeah.
No estimate at this point.
I think, when we're looking at town, I think their initial cost for their unit, which was maybe a little bit smaller, was close to 100. So we're probably looking to close to $200,000 to replace that unit.
Yep.
It is not included in our capital budget for 26 because we view this as being more immediate.
Mhm.
In terms of how we would pay for this, we could utilize funds from the surplus, or based on how things are trending, if all funds are completely expended, then we may need to seek a special appropriation. So we're still trying to piece together all the different things that we have going on for this year. But currently that's the plan.
Yeah, but just remember, for the surplus, we've agreed to turn back the 230.
Yep.
we are going to turn it back.
We are. We're
Yeah.
going to turn that amount back. We're
Mm.
prioritizing the use of that surplus for security.
Right.
Yes, so that's going to be the priority. And if there's any funds left, we'll do that. And if we still exceed that, then we'll need to go to the board of
Right.
finance and selectmen for our special appropriation.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Other good news?
That's all the good news I have for today.
Okay, well, could you please leave? Thank you. No. But when do you think this will be resolved?
I believe it's a 30 to 60 day lead time for the unit. And they're ready to put it in as soon as it gets ordered and delivered. So we could
Okay.
possibly work it around, certainly not winter break, but certainly around spring break, or we could possibly do it. It is because it is tight to the playground, so I wouldn't want to do it during a school day. We'd have to get kind of selective as to how we were going to go about the removal of the old and the tying in of the new.
And the other schools all have generators, right?
They do.
And do some, I am only thinking of, I guess it was during Hurricane Sandy and we kept the middle school open. Do some of the other schools, their generators cover more of their facilities than others? Or is it generally,
Elementary school has full coverage with the generator.
Yeah.
Intermediate school is a portion. High school has more because high school is the emergency location. It's
Yeah, it's the comfort center for the town.
yeah, so that has quite a bit. Middle school, again, it's life safety, no HVAC. So for the most part, the only school that's full coverage is elementary. High school has a little bit expanded, but that's it.
okay, thanks.
Excuse me, can I just say, Mr. Guido is trying to get in. I know Mr. Galley is working on it. He had reached out. So he's not ghosting us.
And we just resent the link. So we're waiting to see what's happening.
Michael,
Peter, are you saying something?
I'm on mute. No, you should hear me.
I can hear
Oh,
you
yeah,
now. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, when I visited Snyder Electric, right at their innovation center, and it's exactly the conversation I had: generators, electrical panels, resiliency. I hope I didn't jinx us, right? But this is exactly what they said. This is where it's going. You have to have new equipment and coverage and resiliency and redundancy, so you avoid the potential problems that Mike has indicated.
Yeah.
In the time. Yeah.
Let's just give Michael time to get into the meeting.
Yeah, the link was resent to him. I'm not quite sure if he's using the Zoom. It should only be a Zoom link and not a Google Meets link. Are you still having difficulties? We're going to see if you could call in.
It's a random question, Michael. Does the town take care of School Road during snowstorms?
Yeah, the town does School Road. They get into a portion of the access road, which
Yeah.
leads from School Road past the intermediate school and into the main area of the high school. And then we take care of the rest.
And then, but I saw that but we have our own salt trucks.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have two vehicles that can salt. We have a couple of smaller, I guess, like side-by-side units that can also sell for sidewalks. Some that we had purchased because of the town sidewalk that goes through everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're pretty much a self-contained unit. We can do whatever we need to do.
And those trucks that were that salt, I saw them parked, drove by them. Can they handle a plow as well?
Yeah, they have plows.
They do. Okay.
They do, yeah. Yeah, those are trucks that do the bulk of the snow removal. We have a skid steer, which is a more of a big, it's an earth moving material, and it can do a big square footage at a time. So that's the biggest tool that we have during snow. But our trucks obviously do a lot of work.
And who drives, who does that for us?
Our grounds and maintenance crew.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds like they'll get a little bit of use in about a couple of days on Monday.
Yeah, that was, I saw that on the news.
Yeah.
Mike is still having some Michael's still having some issues to log in. What do we want to do?
Why don't we just move forward? If there's, Mike, is there more for you?
I don't have anything more now.
Okay. Peter, you want to?
Yeah, I do have an item for today, and it's very timely given our discussions on the capital budget yesterday for HVAC and the potential for further expenses in HVAC for the middle school. I had sent a meeting announcement to Mike and Phil. The state of Connecticut is hosting a 4-part webinar, Understanding Indoor Air Quality and HVAC Compliance for Connecticut Public Schools. So very timely for us. So I registered, so I'll attend 4 sessions. One is on compliance standards. Another is 5-year planning for assessments and implementing best practices. Another is building maintenance, building strategies, and how to partner for sustainable HVAC compliance. And more interestingly is the 4th part is given by our counsel, Shipman and Goodman, on meeting the statutes of the law. So pretty timely for us to be on top of these things. So I'll report in once I watch all 4 seminars. I'll write a little summary for us.
Okay. Phil, do you want to do the financial update?
Are you sure you want me to do that? Is this going to be a continuation of that news? So for the period end in December, we have a mix. We have some savings, and we also have ongoing some negative variances as well. So as it stands right now, we're looking at a projected deficit for through year end of approximately $193,000. For the month and in December, we had savings for salaries, combination of FML and turnover savings. We also received a grant, a $15,000 grant from the state for special education for PD related expenditures. So $10,000 was used to offset salary expenditures, and $5,000 was used to offset professional services. The big one for this month has to do with excess cost reimbursement for special education. There was this, as you know, there's several submissions for excess costs. There's the first one that goes out in December, and based on the December submittal, the state not only projects out what the reimbursement will be for the year. Based on the this December submittal statewide, the reimbursement rate is going to be 59 to 60% for our group. Can you hear me, Lisa?
Yeah.
So it's going to be 59 to 60%, which is lower than what we have seen in recent years. The impact that we have for us this year is going to be approximately $90,000, which of course will add to the overall deficit. What's most important is not so much for this year, but the impact that it will have for next year. I think we have been reporting out, and Tracy has said repeatedly, how volatile special education cost expenditures can be. And I think what we're seeing statewide, and also what we've heard, is that all local educational agencies are seeing a significant increase in special education costs. So the impact for us this year is that our anticipated reimbursement will be less, which will, of course, have a negative impact on our budget. We will be presenting revised projections, our revised some adjustments for fiscal year 25-26. I think maybe Tuesday, at our next budget workshop. We're also monitoring electricity. We're seeing a significant increase on the delivery side. We have a fixed cost for kilowatt hours on the supply side, but we're seeing a significant increase in delivery charge, which is by Eversource. So we're trying to see how this is going to flesh out for the remainder of the year. What we're also looking at as well is that for this year, the reimbursement rate for the virtual net metering is also less than what it has been in previous years. So we're monitoring that. Hopefully we'll see how things are trending by the end of first quarter of 25, and we will report out. As Mike mentioned, you know, we're at the peak of our heating season. And this is the longest prolonged cold stretch that we've seen in recent years, which of course will translate into increased usage, which of course means more dollars. So we'll see how all that is trending, and then we will report out. So fiscal 25 pretty much has just been characterized by strong headwinds. It's not like previous years, and as I've always said, every year is different. And this year, unfortunately, is just one of those years where we have to deal with all of these negative trends.
Well, just on those two topics, you know, you can see the various school districts that are members of CABE. You know, educational cost reimbursement is the topic, and so all the various members of CABE are commenting on, commenting on you know, what they're experiencing. And I do know from, you know, just reading papers and you know, looking about what's going on in Hartford now that the legislature is back in session, that this is one topic, and the second is the cost of electricity in the state of Connecticut. So
there's one thing I want to add along the line of Hartford. The Fairfield County Superintendent's Group has collectively drafted a letter, and we will be sending it to the House Chair of the Education Committee, specifically regarding this issue of the excess cost, and giving our recommendations and the adverse impact it is having on both the budget this year and future budgets. So that will be sent out this month.
yeah, good. Yeah, I saw some article saying that some legislators are asking for $500 million more than what is being planned in the budget for this in particular.
It's unfortunate that sometimes they're making decisions and, you know, we've seen this, that there is an adverse impact on our school budgets, not only in this area, but also in the area of the sick day that we have to have, the amount of sick hours and how we have to track that because of recent legislature. And it's a bit complicated and almost absurd that if substitutes work a certain amount of hours, then we have to pay them sick time. Like, it doesn't make any sense, the way that they crafted legislation, and then it's adversely impacting us. So
Yeah, I'm always curious about who drafts this legislation. Where does it come from?
Yeah.
And the answer always is, I don't know. Right? I mean, it's like,
well, we have been expressing our views. Mr. Felton and I were there at the CES hosted that legislator breakfast.
yeah,
And all of these topics came up at the breakfast, as they do every year. And now the superintendents are following up with a letter.
great. more, Phil, or,
That's a,
um, I'll send a quick note to Michael just to tell him what, what he missed. And so with that, I think the only item is to approve the minutes from our last meeting. So can I have a motion to approve, Peter? I second. All those in favor?
Move to, I say yes.
Okay, we'll make it a double one. A motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Okay, until we meet again.
All right.
Okay.
have a great
thanks.
weekend.
Rest.
Okay, thanks, Mike.